Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming to this speaking session. And I'm coming from Canada, Toronto. It took me about 2.5 days to get here instead of a 4.5 hours flight. I can imagine some of you might have the same challenges. We went from Toronto to New York, and then our flight got canceled, so we got another one to Atlanta. Then that one to New Orleans was canceled. Then we went to Alexandria, and then we rented a car and we drove like 4 hours to get here. So that was quite a memory for us and everyone. And but it seems we came here and everybody's here, and that's amazing. Today, the discussion I guess we're gonna start, and others as they join. Today's discussion is going to be a little bit different, probably from the ones that you are going to listen to or might have attended. I want to keep it a little bit more technical, and the reason I think is there is this sort of I guess hype word as AI that now you could probably see on 2/3 of every booth here. Probably have a word AI and just claiming to use AI. And I think for managers and leaders and decision makers in car dealerships to decide, should they even use it? Does it even matter? How does it improve? I think it is very important to understand the fundamental of what are the AIs, what are the categories, how do they really impact our daily lives, and then how they could actually get used in a car dealerships and different subjects and different aspects of a dealership, from sales, marketing, and different sections. And then how really behind the scene all these AI systems and approaches would really work. What are the different types? So it gets a little bit technical, but I will try to keep it as smooth as possible. And I think at the end of this session, you will have a good understanding of different kind of AIs, what they do, how they impact the dealerships, and it's going to help you to make decision down the road when you're talking to different companies about what they do and how they can really help you with the approach of AI. You could decide, oh, this is good, this is not good, should we use this or not? So with that said, just a little bit of housekeeping. So everything I say here is basically my ideas, and as you can see here, is not the opinions of NADA. So with that out of the way, this is what we're going to discuss today. Different categories of AI, just to understand the deeper level what AI is, and what are the current systems. And then we're going to talk about AI in everyday products that we're using, how those categories of AI are being used. Then we're going to move into AI in dealership software. So we'll sort of move the discussion into dealerships and automotive industry, and then we're going to talk about a few things that are going to come in future. They're not available now, but it will help you guys basically manage and lead your organizations based on that. And then we can finish that with a question and answer. I'm hoping to finish the first 4 in around 30 minutes, and then we'll leave some time to do Q&As. So in 1748, there was a university professor created a process called artificial cooling medium. Same way we would probably call it artificial intelligence now. Back then, we're going to talk about what it is. We're calling it artificial cooling medium. It took about 50 years for that to get into the first design of a typical fridge. So 50 years to go from the whole idea coming to the actual design happening. And then another 50 years, about 40 years for the first fridge to get built. And then there is another 60 years for Mr. Fred Wolf, which is the appliances we all know, the brand, basically created the first home electric refrigerator, which is the design you see on the left side. So 165 years from the time where the technology was really sort of known to human until it gets the first one built. And if you look at how long it took for people to adopt that, and we could talking about a 50 million user mark, which is what is used to measure the technologies, the advanced technologies, how long it takes to get mass adoption. 50 million is a good number. So that was another 50 years. And so all in all, it took 200 years for the air conditioning for the fridge to really get to 50 million user, get to mass adoptions. Let's look at some other human technologies and how long they took. For telephone, 75 years. Radio, it took 38 years. Television, it took 13 years. Internet, 7 years. Smartphones, it took 5 years to get to 50 million. Facebook, 3 years. Pokemon Go, 1 year. And ChatGPT, it only took 2 months. From the area when the technology was introduced until we get to 50 million. So why this is important? This is the reason that we can see the rate of adoption for major technologies in current days have significantly changed. So for AC, let's call it, that took 200 years. For AI, it took only 2 months. When we're talking about the adoptions of technologies, we typically consider every 25 years as a generation. So you're looking at it took a generation for the fridge to get mass adoption, and then for AI, it was really just the summer. And that shows how rapid the technology is. And why this is important is that if somebody was in fridge business and they were cutting ice and they were bringing it, from frozen lakes, and they will cut it and they will sell it to the audience and general public and businesses, it would take a generation for them to lose that leverage and lose that business, and that business goes basically out, and they have to close doors. So even if they didn't adopt to that new technology, it would have still taken a good amount of time to go out of business. It would take a generation. But you can see in the new technologies like AI, that is different. And the change, the effect it has on society is big. And that gets me to this, that as managers and leaders, you drive and lead the change. And AI is definitely bringing change to every industry that we live in, similar to the way that computer added and changed everything, similar way that phone and smartphones change everything. So this is very important to pay attention to. We have some quotes from great entrepreneurs. Thomas Edison says, if there is a better way to do it, find it. That's the leader's job. And Steve Jobs says, innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. And Jeff Bezos says, what's dangerous is not to evolve. So I think with the AI coming and everything happening around it, really these say the word that evolving and finding the innovation, and as well as see if there is a better way to do everything you're doing today with the use of AI. I think that's really the summary of what this would be if you go out of this meeting without all the technical jargons that we're gonna cover. That's what I would definitely recommend remembering. But let's talk about how can AI drive change in a car dealership. We talk about change. We said it's coming. AI is going to change everything. So how is it going to change in a car dealership? And for that, let's just start with understanding 4 different categories of AI. So this is probably the most important slide because it's something that we're going to keep coming back to these. And the 4 categories, obviously this is how I categorized it to make it easy to understand. You could categorize in 10 different ways, 15 different ways, but I think this is something that makes it very easy to understand and explain everything else we're going to say from here. So the first category is what we call natural language processing. So in short is NLP. And we're going to use that NLP as we sort of explain to save some text putting together. So what's the role of natural language processing? Is really just processing natural language. So it's in short, it's just to understand text. So when let's say you type something in a chat, that's really what happens in human brains. The first thing is to really understand what that text is, and we call them NLPs. And then this is for text, right? So natural language processing text. But how about images, videos, So really what our eyes sees. There's computer vision. So these all have been around for quite some time. So computer vision is really understand and analyze images and videos. So when we talk about AI algorithms that do computer vision, AI algorithms that do natural language processing. And then here on the top, we have machine learning. So machine learning's role is to understand and analyze data. So you send them a bunch of, like a big Excel sheet. Really, you want them to deeply understand. So later on, you can ask them questions that is beyond just organized with like column with the price or other things, right? You want it to ask meaningful questions. That's where machine learning comes in. And finally, generative AI, which it has a sort of two mini groups inside it. As you can see, it's really the role, as the name comes, it's really generative. It's just to generate. So the generative AI, it has a large language models in it, which the role is to generate text. And then it has diffusion models, that the role is to generate images and videos. So really, just to simplify things, so that these first two on the left, natural language processing and computer vision, is to really understand images and text and everything that comes to interaction. And then the machine learning is to really analyze that, right? So first we understand what it is. Well, the model first it understands, then it analyzes, and then it generates response through text, large language models, and through images and videos would be diffusion models. So really, this is really simplifying in a sense that any AI models, they become combination of some of these to complete a task. And let's look at some of the samples. So let's talk about some of everyday use cases. For example, ChatGPT is using NLP, right, natural language processing, to understand what we're telling it, and then it used generative AI to really create response. That was the first version that came out. It just using this. But then later on, they added, so, oh, now he understands images and videos, and he can ask a question about those images and videos. So that's when in their more advanced models, like 4.0, they're using NLP to understand what we are saying, then computer vision to understand if we are adding any images, we want to ask a question about that image, or give them an order about that image, and then it's generative AI. So if we're asking something verbally, then you use large language models to generate a text. If we want that image changed, let's say I give my profile and tell them turn this into a 3D model animation, then it's using basically the text as well as those stable diffusion models to generate the image, and then it will give it back to us. Let's look at some other self-driving cars. They use, and that's why it has been extremely difficult to deal with self-driving cars, is that, well, you're literally using everything about AI, all four groups, to make it happen. You want NLP to understand what the driver says. You want computer vision to really seize the road and analyze everything that is happening. You want machine learning to analyze all that data and everything it gets. And then you want generative AI to create responses to the driver, answer their questions and everything around that. Let's go to Google, like Google Home, Alexa, Siri. They're using really a combination of NLP, machine learning, and generative AI. Midjourney is a model, if you're familiar with it. It's really to just generate image, and it is using generative AI. But when you add the NLP to it, natural language processing that understand the language, then it sort of understands the meaning. So that's why working with DALL-E and generating image is a little bit easier, and then you can have back and forth with it in terms of editing that image, giving it order, because it also tries to understand what you're seeing, and then it uses a generative AI to generate the response. A big change has come to all the translations, because previously, on previous models, it would be really sort of a word-to-word translation. So there wasn't a lot of understanding of what the meaning is. So it wasn't really a lot of NLP, like natural language processing. So you would sort of see that when you would translate something from one language to another, it wasn't really meaningful, it wasn't really cross the points, it would use some words wrong. But the new translations that is becoming very, and we're going to talk about this when it comes to targeting different demographics, different communities. You want to use their own language, so that becomes important. So the new translation is much stronger because it is using the NLPs and machine learning to really understand the meanings behind what that sentence is, and then it's going to translate it into another language, and that's a very important difference. And then if you're watching Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, I would imagine at least you're using one or a few of these companies in your life. Machine learning learns your habits, learns what kind of series you like, what kind of movies you most watch, and then based on that, it will give you suggestions of other products because it increases the chance of likelihood of you purchasing that. And that becomes also very important. Imagine where marketplaces for cars start to learn the customers' habits and what they like and what are the cars that are most likely for them to purchase. So all of these comes through machine learning. So what about car dealership? We talk about everyday use of AI, and now the question is, what about car dealerships? And we're going to cover the AI in car dealerships and car dealership softwares into basically 4 categories. How AI can impact digital merchandising of cars, how AI can impact your marketing and sales, how AI can help you with customer service or change the way things are done or improve the ways, as well as, and then we'll sort of finish with dealership management and how AI can help dealership leaders and managers to do their job better. Let's start with merchandising. So it will help you create consistency. Many dealerships that I work in my company with, they do photography in different time of day. Whenever the car comes, the photo needs to get, and it's clean, the photo needs to be taken. So and there is no sort of standard date to do the photography. So with AI, you could create consistency regardless of when and where you do the photography. Many dealerships, they do photographies in different locations. If there's a multi-location dealerships, the photos are taken in one dealership and then it's moved to another. Sometimes if it is not sold or if there is a certain audience for it, moves around. So AI can help you create consistency. We're going to cover that. It helps you do it a lot faster. So if it would take processing one image, it would take half a day, even if you would subcontract it. So now AI can do it in fraction of seconds. So for dealerships that are larger, they have hundreds of cars, really AI can do a lot of part of merchandising, editing the photos and all of that much faster. It has a higher quality for sure. It doesn't make the mistakes, and it is more accurate as a result. So what are specific adoption? When we talk merchandising, what are we talking about? So you probably see vendors that work on custom backgrounds. That's literally how AI actually gets implemented, or 360 spins if you're looking at them, the ones that comes with a sort of a virtual studio, like these samples where really this car was captured outside, but then you see the shadows on the wall is recreated as it spins, the reflections on the floor, the shadow on the floor, and it looks as if it is in a real photo studio where it was captured, something like this. And for something like this, you're looking at computer vision, right? To basically understand the car, to understand this car. So what is car and what is the background, right? And then so the background removal is using AI and computer vision to apply it. And then you're looking at machine learning to basically scale all the images, calculate the shadows, and create the reflections. So that use both of this, and then is using generative AI to generate some of the content like the shadows and the reflections to be able to put together a much more real looking spin versus the one that was just using conventional image processing. It can remove, sometimes detects the backgrounds of the inside the window, so you could see the logos at the back, which all of this at the end of the day it helps to have a more realistic image as well as make it a lot faster. So for an image like this to happen manually, it would probably take days to happen. The next use of AI in merchandising are softwares that you see that they are detecting the angle. So we talk about background removal, but then you want to create consistency, especially for marketplaces where different dealerships send their photos and they're from all over the place from different angles, and they want to create that consistency on the front of their page. So being able to detect, let's say this image is a passenger 3/4 front view. This is something that a machine learning can do that combined with the computer vision. So the computer vision understands the image, detects what the car is separated from background, and then the machine learning is that learning parts where it says, okay, it's a 3/4 front view, and then it gets combined to giving that back that information. There are vendors, I'm not sure if we have anyone here, but that they do damage detection, and they're using computer vision and ML. The only thing with the damage detection is that it's really, even if you give a human, you would assume like they would probably mistaken the dirt with an actual dent or mark, and that's a huge challenge that is still, even we are in the industry, we see a lot of vendors that claim to do it. They're unsuccessful unless they can really create that controlled space where you have a very good lighting, very consistent lighting, and then they would be able to do a better job. But it will definitely get there. Like I think it is fair to say, with the current technology and the abilities and what is clear is that we will get to AGI in probably next 4 or 5 years. And by AGI, I mean having a real AI employee, right? Having somebody that can do everything that a good employee that doesn't forget things, show up every day, takes care of the tasks, and everything else that you would expect from a good employee to do. But that would probably come in 4 or 5 years. So this is a sample of AI-powered video tour. So what makes this different from let's say other video tours that was happening before the AI is that the audio, the AI understands what photo is shown, what part is it interior, exterior. So you won't get one voice that talks about the interior of the car while the video is showing exterior of the car. And it is exactly the same tonality, and it is exactly literally the same process with the same music. So with AI, you can understand, for example, if it is a truck, maybe you want a heavier, deeper voice with a really a different color theme, versus if it is, let's say, a minivan, which is considered a family car, then they might require a different voice with a different music. And different features would be shown at the time, and call to actions. All of that would be different if it is a minivan versus a truck that is, let's say, used for work, minivan for personal use. It creates the variety. So what AI can do on the video tour section is that it can create variety while it keeps the consistency, because then every video is different. Even if you have 2 exact car or the same car, you just ask the AI to generate 2 video tour, it will create a slightly 2 different video tours with a little bit different descriptions, because really every time it is really customizing and recreating that. So let's go talk about marketing and sales. So now that we're done with merchandising, how can AI help marketing and sales? It will help you create efficiency, consistency, a speed and a scale, higher quality, and more accuracy. Let's talk about some of them. So all the dealerships, they sell to different communities. In every city we live, there are different communities, different requirements, different culture. And the question is, if you could really, in a scalable way, you could give a power to your sales rep to really target their community, and really tailor to what they say, from their own local language all the way to the color theme they're using, all the way to the language, and all the way the cars that they're listing or they're recommending. If you give that power to your sales rep to leverage that, whatever community they're coming from, if they can leverage that and target that community, then connect with that and have their own branded presentation, similar to what we see in real estate industry. The entire industry is running on sales reps doing their own marketing and doing their own sales. Dealerships, brokerages hardly do any advertising. I would argue they do no advertising. And the sales rep do that. And when they present it, oh, this is my listing. But technically and legally, that listing is owned by the brokerage. But giving them that leverage of personalizing will give them the power to target their own community. And then you will see a sales rep in real estate is really much known in the community they're coming from. And if that could be replicated in automotive industry through the giving the power to sales rep, but then most of sales reps are lazy. They don't like to do any work. They even don't call the leads they get. So AI lets you automate that. So AI lets you create personalization through a scale. And this personalization, and at the same time do it in a scale, is what we're going to talk about a few times. And one is here, giving sales rep their own website that they have their own background, their own coloring, their own language, their own video tour with whatever language they want, parallel to what the dealership has, is a powerful tools. Social media sharing and content marketing is another category that AI has improved significantly. If you're posting to Facebook, your demographic, people that you're targeting are very different from when you're posting to TikTok. And when you have the same description that is in your website automatically posted to all of these, the effect you have in getting the attention of those audiences, whether they're on Facebook and Instagram or TikTok, is significantly different. With AI, it literally helps you generate a different description for the same car if it is posted on TikTok, and a different one if it is posted on Facebook. But then they all create that link back that you want to come to your site. The images that it can automatically generate as well is a huge asset. And talking about AI sales coach. So we're talking about marketing and sales. So let's talk about sales training, whether it's for sales or service. Typically, trainings are in a library of photos, videos, PDF documents that we expect people watch, like hours and hours of videos, sometimes hours and hours of PDF documents. And it is really sometimes, it is like you give a dictionary to someone, to a sales rep, and tell them, okay, read the whole thing if you want to be a very good English speaking. Okay, so this, like read it, and nobody's going to read that. You want really these training materials be something that you can really go to it when the condition happens, when you face a problem, when you don't know how to respond to lead, when you don't know how to overcome an objections. So if you could really create let's say a chatbot, an ultimate sales rep or ultimate technician or ultimate trainer that can really communicate and chat with every person and help them learn with their own speed. Not faster, not as slower, not expecting them to learn very fast or slow. That changes the training industry forever. So it's not really just having a same solution for every staff. It is going to be personalized training that comes with AI. We're working on it. Other companies are working on it. But imagine that instead of giving them a big PDF file that, okay, every time, read through this, you're going to know these are the top 50 ways of overcoming objections in a car dealerships for sales reps. Imagine you give them a chatbot that says every time you get an objection, if it is on the phone or an email, just type the objection here. It will tell you what to say. Or every time that you lost the lead because there was an objection, okay, you lost that one, but come back and really punch that in and see how you would respond to it next time that the lead comes in and a similar objection comes in. So this would be a very powerful tool that combines all of those NLPs and generative AIs and everything to be able to respond. I typically go deep into like what category of AI they use, but I think we're supposed to finish this. I don't even know how long we started, but we're supposed to finish this in 30 minutes. I'll go a little bit faster. but I will be here. If there's any question, I will be happy to answer after. So customer service is another huge category that the change is coming. Many are here already, but I believe in the next 3-4 years, it will really change the perspective and change the landscape. So obviously you can have 24/7 BDRs. Immediate response becomes very important. A majority, I believe there was a study done by Google of 1,000 dealerships, and they had a very big number, about 30-something% of leads are lost because on platforms like Facebook Marketplace, let's say Car Gurus, Auto Traders, dealers are not responding fast enough, because marketplaces and any place that is based on a chat and a communication, if you miss as a dealer, if you miss that lead's questions, it's not like a lead where you could go back next day, because they're either in their bed, or they're having coffee in the morning, and they really want an answer, and they're chatting with you, and they're making a request to 5 other places. So they will send a question, they will wait probably 5 to 10 seconds. If the answer is not there, then they will leave to the next one. So that's also very important to create that consistency, the training of how to respond, knowing the entire inventory. Imagine you have a customer service rep that knows the entire inventory. And now let's talk about the chatbots that probably, I think, a good number of vendors here have that, and I thought these slides are going to help you sort of distinguish between really different kinds. So first we talk about basic AI chatbots that, let's say, their goal is just to have a conversation and then turn that conversation into lead. So they're not connected, let's say, to the inventory, to CRM, and it comes from, it uses machine learning, NLP, and generative AI. So this is really how the flow works. So the customer make a request through AI, let's say it's a form of a chatbot or a WhatsApp, and then that goes through the NLP to understand what it says. Then it goes through machine learning to analyze it, and then the generative AI creates a response, gives it back to the let's say screen for the chat, and then the customer receives it. So as you can see, there is a flow that from whatever the UI interface, let's say the chatbot in a website, understands, analyze, responds. But what if you wanted to connect to your inventory? What if you want them to know about your dealerships, your values, your working hours? What if you want them to have access to your CRM? So that is a little bit becomes more complicated, where you would see it on more advanced chatbots or AI BDRs, where it uses really OR4, and it is using a more sort of approach called RAG, A-R-A-G, called Retrieval Augmented Generation. So what RAG is, it is really an approach where it sort of mixes all these three, which is really what happens in our brain. If you notice, in our brain, we don't really differentiate the first understand, now analyze, now response. It really, all of them happens, like sometimes you could say simultaneously, or without we really realizing we're going through the step. So this system or this approach helps to process the request and the answer a lot faster. That's why the newer versions or the newer technologies that are talking around text to speech or processing a request happens a lot faster, because now it kind of combines them together, and most importantly, it will help the memories of the past conversation. So now becomes very valuable through this system. So the customer here makes the communication or request with the UI. It could be in a WhatsApp text message, a search bar in a website, a chatbot, or an email, or a phone. So it doesn't matter. The point is, in some form, the customer communicates with, we call it that UI or that interface, and then that interface let that AI core, which has the RAG capability, know, and then literally, instead of going through that process, that becomes the main brain. So the AI core has access to inventory, has access to CRM, has access to general knowledge, covers from working hours to what is the value of the company, or the managements, anything that you get in that system. And then it sort of happens a lot faster. So if a customer asking for a specific car, then it brings the car out and say, yeah, we have these cars. And then by having that machine learning where I understand the data. So if a customer comes and says, oh, I'm looking for an SUV that is $45,000 and it has a blue exterior and it has a beige interior and it has navigation, now with the machine learning, because it understands the entire database in your inventory, it could tell them, hey, these are really the option that fits what you want. And it happens through this system with machine learning, where previously in the previous chatbots or more basic chatbots, they won't be able to do this because they wouldn't have a deep understanding. They just have a sort of an Excel sheet that if they can only respond if you want an SUV, then they will go and find an SUV that is only $45,000. It's a deep understanding of inventory. And if you look at it, there is no sales rep, there is no customer service rep that knows, let's say, the entire 200 car inventory with all the interior colors, all the features, and everything around what they're selling to respond to customers. And that makes it really, really powerful if it's done properly. So the next thing that we believe is not here yet, but it will advance, is the post-purchase customer engagement. How AI is going to help in there? It actually helps more goal-oriented communications. This is what we're working towards. I know other vendors are working towards. So what does that mean? So AI decides when to send what promotion to what customer to get the highest chance of response based on the customer behavior in social media. So if you have an AI system that has, let's say, through part of like once they purchased, you guys have access to their social media to follow them, and then you will have the AI to sort of see that, oh, there was a graduation of, let's say, one of their kids. Oh, well, that's potentially a good chance of sending him a promotion for a car that would be good, let's say, for a teenager that is recently graduated. Or if through the scraping that the AI would do of your customer's life, whatever is public information, they will see they're having a baby coming, so you know that the car they purchased maybe is a time to send them a promotion for a minivan, or anything else that happens. If they're just young and they're just married, maybe a different car type would be good. And or if something bad happens in their life, like that's the time where you said, hey, we noticed this happened in your life, and we want to sort of give you condolences. You would send them, you would see in their conversations that they're not happy with the company, the last oil change. Maybe you could send them something that would say, oh, like how about this promotion, free oil change for next time, to really bring them back to dealerships. So this is really the power of doing personalization in a scale, which we talked about it previously on the sales, but now you could face the customer. In other words, you can predict customer needs before they happen. I don't know how many of you are into movies, but the Minority Report that Tom Cruise was when a player is something that soon can really become a reality, where from people's behaviors, we could predict what would be their future, what would be their next actions. And in fact, there's a company called Affinity. They're actually in mortgage loans. It was the CTO of PayPal, like when they were a startup, started. And this is exactly how they're doing. They're offering financing to people by basically monitoring their social media and like a holistic approach, not just their credit, but looking at their entire life. And based on that, they predict if this person is going through a hard time and they're going to fail, or they're in a sort of a stable, or they're growing. And all of these will come with the post-purchase or financing that will make it becomes a superpower. Obviously, I think in 4 or 5 years, especially for new cars, with Apple and Facebook glasses, people would in a much better quality. They can see the cars in the driveway. Especially for new car, change the models, even do a test drive on their sofa. And that's, I think, is another very important upgrades in how the look is. I don't know anyone who's actively working on this. I think technology-wise, we're still far from this, but this is something that will come, I would say, in the next 4 or 5 years. And there will be vendors coming, startups that will be focusing on this once that base technology becomes really available. And finally, we're almost done. Dealership management. So how can AI helps managements and leaders to do a better job? And it can help you guys on predicting the future of your customers, of your company, by giving access to a AGI that has access to your CRM, to your finances, and asked it the same way the president wakes up in the morning and it has a summary of everything happened in the world and few suggestions. And based on that few suggestions, really the job of a president would be to choose from few good suggestions based on everything in their understanding of their business and the vision they want to have. They typically, there's not a lot of bad suggestion because those suggestions are created by professionals in every sector, and there is extremely high chance of being good decision, all of them. And it's going to change your HR, so AI can help you guys go through the resumes. I don't know if I'm sure some of you have this problem of that you post a job, there are millions of resumes, and the funny thing is that you can't find somebody who can really do this simple job properly, even though that you get thousands and thousands of resumes. So AI can help you go through that, be able to basically prepare personalized questions for each person. It will help you to train your staff, will help you let them go through regulations. It will help them to really not look at the training material as a dictionary that they have to go through the whole thing. Something that they could really communicate with an AI HR, and they can ask the question they want, and that can happen in a scale. And service training. Right now we're actually in talk with one of the truck manufacturers to create an AI mechanic, so they can actually have that as a second opinion or help them on how to fix trucks through the millions and millions of repair documents that they have. And that's something that would significantly change the training as well as helping them go through the process. And I think in short, I would say in the next 10 years, we are going to have our own, well, for some of you fans that watch movies again, our own digital R2-D2, our own personal assistant that is going to help us really achieve a lot of things, our own Siri, but extremely more capable. And really, it's done in the presentation, but if I can really pass along one thing is that leverage AI to stay ahead in the market. And with that, any question I would be happy to answer. Thank you so much for staying. I think it took a lot of more than 30 minutes. Thank you.
How does it play in with the replacement of cookies, and how does it interface? Is it the new cookie of the next generation? Could it be?
Absolutely. I think oh, yes. So the question, I think the question was, if I understood, yes. So, in the marketing, we have like cookies and how they could really, yeah, I think we're going to let like about a minute or two so everybody can leave, so I can go respond, yeah.
One of the biggest industry that I read and you probably noticed was the gambling industry has been so affected by AI.
Absolutely.
Gambling expense is up like 140%, and they're using this to sort of just imagine that you love playing roulette, and all of a sudden it's serving up to him roulette ads,
Yeah.
and specifically. But not only that, it's saying, hey, your neighbor just won this amount of money doing this, without producing a lot of data, but it's just serving up everything you love, attracting you in. So it's like multi-passional. Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, I mean, like let's say if there is a promotion, then the casino will send you a free night at the hotel because you know you have the money to lose.
Or
You couldn't do it previously.
if AI says to him that, I'm gonna make this up, his wife loves Chanel purses and he loves gambling, all of a sudden they skip him and go right to her and say, hey, we have this great promotion going on, come on, stay in Las Vegas for free,
Get a free
gamble here, and oh, by the way, we have a brand new Chanel store just opened. All of a sudden you got her going in, hey, let's go out to the middle of the day.
Yeah. So
How are if you don't, they're trying to get their keys, how are you
How's
legally,
AI?
how is AI getting around that to serve up custom messages without
yeah, so I will repeat the question. So the question was that the as a way of marketing, we had like cookies that was installed on extensions, and then those cookies would track the behavior of the customer throughout their browsing journey, and based on that, it would make them suggestion, keep popping up in front of them, because that literally with that cookie, you sort of give the power to that entity to sort of show you guys like the image they want as you go through the life. I think what will happen with AI is that now you scale that in their entire life, not just the browser. So on your social media, on your life, and knowing the ticket you purchase to go into a resort, the promotion you get, and people thank you in your social media and your LinkedIn account is going to impact the promotion you get from a casino where they will give you a free night because they know like you have money to spend. So really, I think AI would really be sort of cookies on a steroid, right? And we all decide to share that information public, right? None of these information they're collecting are information that is information that we decide to share with the public. The only thing is that AI now has a superpower of analyzing all these data. So anybody that goes public, and you could just Google your own name. You could probably find a lot of information that is just about you and is public and is accessible. And imagine a system that can really crawl all of this, and from that creates a profile for you, a character profile that even you were not aware of it. It would basically know you better than you. And that's probably how it can predict the next action, offer you a special promotion. And I think as dealers, while this technology is available, I think leveraging it becomes very, very important in terms of targeting, creating promotions, personalized messages. Because the day of sending a standard email to like thousands and thousands of people and getting a lot of response is definitely over in marketing. And imagine when you create a general poster and do a Facebook ad for the entire city, that's literally what you're doing. It's like a new version of sending the same email to everyone. But let's say if you could personalize those messages, let's say if it is marketing a Spanish community, why not have it in the Spanish language? And if let's say the Spanish community are certain cars that is more popular to them, why not let the AI generate that? And if it is, let's say, it's marketing to, let's say, moms, maybe another ad goes to them that has a different cars on it. And all of these are things that AI can automatically generate those images, automatically post it. And I don't think it is really far. It's easy with the generative AI and the understanding, the machine learning to understand customers. This would be something that can easily happen. And so really the short answer is the AI, you could say, is really the cookies on a steroid, right? Now it's gonna know a lot more than just the browsing habits for people.
Are you aware of anyone that uses AI to put banners on the pictures on your cars on your website? Automatically, just banners on them?
Yeah, so we are working on that solution. I don't know anyone who automates the entire process. But the idea of, like, for example, what we are working on is what we just talked about, is that a section where you would say, you know what, I want to, we automatically detect your inventory. So we know what cars you have in your inventory. And then based on that, when we're posting Facebook ad for the customers, we actually, from your inventory, we pick the car that is most likely to really appeal to the audience we're marketing to. So this way you probably have hundreds of different ads going online with your Facebook ads, with your Google ad, but the point is every ad is really customized to the audience it's serving. And has a highly likelihood of they achieving. So this is what we're working. I think we're going to be releasing it within 6-7 months. But that would be really combining everything we talk about, all that 4 categories of understanding customer with the machine learning. We understand the customer. From knowing access to your inventory, we match the car you have that is going to match your customer, and then through generative AI, we generate the ad for it. And then it's going to actually get posted.
But what do you see the future being with, she goes to look at a vehicle on a website, and I go look at the same vehicle on a website, but she has a completely different view customized to her, based on Sneak likes that they already know about her, and mine are completely different. Same car, but different offers, different voices.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Like we're doing that for video tour right now. Like for example, like one of the things my company does, we do video tours, and like from all the templates we have, we match, like we would suggest, or our staff or work with you to assign different templates and voiceovers to different car types. So you could say, okay, if it is a truck, if it is I don't know, SUV, I want like a deep man voice. And if it is, let's say, minivan, I want like a younger woman and with a softer music in the background and with the different templates that sort of appeal to them. If it is a electric car, then I want like a background that is like a green, and it sort of focuses more on the features that has. Absolutely, like that comes in. But having that dynamically, I don't know anyone who's doing it. But that's a great idea. If you could basically have anybody that comes to the website see something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes with a lot of challenges. Yeah.